So today we're going to be making a cleansing spray. For a list of items you'll need, go ahead and check out that document I posted earlier. For this first part, I have Palo Santo and a wood carving knife. It's a bit dull, but still sharp enough to hurt yourself, so use it carefully. I also have a glass jar, which is just the lid to a small candle. But you can use anything to catch the carvings and other materials we'll be using. So here I start carving the Palo Santo, and I quickly realize that the world is not made for lefties, so I switch to my right hand, and I am carefully carving because I am not right-handed. But basically what you want to do is just get small carvings of your Palo Santo into the container. Now if your Palo Santo is anything like mine and it's used, don't be surprised if you get it all over your hands. So now that we have all of our Palo Santo shavings into the jar, we're going to move on to the next step, which is using our sage. So here we have a sage bundle, which is just white sage bundled up with a few other herbs and flowers. So what we're going to do here is pick off some pieces of the white sage. You can tell I was struggling with the reversed camera. But we're just picking off a few of the loose pieces of the white sage to collect in our container. And if your sage happens to have some extra herbs or flowers, you can take pieces of that as well, just to add to it, but it's not necessary. Just something extra if you want it. Now that we have all of our sage and Palo Santo into the container, we can move on to the next step. So now we're going to use some ground sea salt, or it can be coarse, doesn't really matter. And we are also going to be using some ground sage. So for this part, I just poured a small amount onto my hands. I tried to show you it's just a small line, and I dump it into the jar. Now we're moving on to the ground sage. This part is definitely optional, but if you do want to use it, just use a small amount because we don't want to end up clogging the line to our bottle. As you can see in the lid, there's only a small amount in there, and then I just pour it into the jar with the rest of our ingredients. So now that we have all of our ingredients in the jar, it's time to hit the store and get some bottles. So I'm all about saving money. So we're at Walmart in the deodorant/travel section, and there's 97-cent spray bottles. So this smaller bottle is actually at Dollar Tree for $1. And then these are the 97-cent ones from Walmart. I'm going to fill each of them up with a little bit of water just to show you the difference between the types of spraying that these bottles can do. The bottles from Walmart have an adjustable lid, which is awesome because it can do a stream or it can do a mist. So when it's farthest away from that beginning point right there, it ends up doing a stream. You can see that there. And then if we twist the lid more towards the closure, there should just be a little bit amount of room between there and the closure. And I did it a tiny bit too tight, so I fixed it, and now it's misting. When we take the smaller bottle and fill it up with some water, we see that there's only one type of spray that this bottle can do. If you can see it, it's only a mister top. And then I show a close-up of it so you can see the type of opening that this lid has. So that only does mist, whereas the other one has the option for stream and mist, which I find really helpful. So when thinking about what kind of water to use, I prefer to use some form of purified or filtered water. Now, some people like to charge the water under the moon or under the sun to help give it extra oomph. Considering I'm recording this right now and the new moon isn't until Friday, I'll charge the finished product rather than the water beforehand. Now, the bottle you choose isn't really that important. I personally chose to go with the slightly bigger bottle. I like the versatility that this kind of bottle offers. So now it's time to pour our water into the bottle. And I'm going to be filling this up about 2/3 of the way, leaving approximately 1/3 left without water. This part won't be applicable to everyone, but as you'll notice, the jar that I have all the ingredients in is bigger than the jar of my bottle. So the way that I solve this problem is by taking a pair of chopsticks to use to grab some of the smaller pieces and get them into the smaller nozzle of the bottle. Now there's only a tiny bit left, and it should be a small enough amount that I can just pour it into the bottle without much spillage. So now all of the ingredients are in the bottle with the water. We're just going to take the nozzle, screw it on, give it a good shake, mix it all in there. And then you're pretty much ready to go. All the ingredients are in there. At this point you can add more water if you'd like to, especially if you want it more diluted, or you can just leave the water level where it's at. But now it's good to go. Do a test spray. I like these kind of bottle ideas because you can spray your hands to cleanse your hands or your feet. You can spray your desk and work area. And here I even show that I'm spraying myself because I like to cleanse myself. And this was just a funny moment. So I hope you enjoy this.